Wacky, wacky Wednesday. How are we doing, everybody? We are back. It's got me feeling nicey. We're 2 days close to the weekend. Payday. Let's rock and roll. This is Sammy the Man McIntyre with Moving the Chains podcast. We are rocking and rolling. How are we doing today? I hope we're doing well. You guys know the drill. Every Wednesday I get my Raider reaction. I got a lot to talk about today. I wanted to touch on a couple games. I want to touch on LSU Ole Miss that I did not touch on, and just the maturation of Lane Kiffin. I wanted to touch on that. And I watched his 7 minutes of the documentary. Got to go back and watch the whole thing. I'm trying to find it. It's just hard when, I don't have ESPN Plus. So I'm trying to scramble and find it. But let me start with this. So you guys know the drill. Raiders reaction week 4. Wow, we're already in week 4. Holy shit. We are chugging along on that train, brother. Jesus. Okay, so I want to start with the good news, okay? Genty finally got going. He went back to his normal stance, looking like Michael Myers out there. Thank God. Chip Kelly's a bum, thinking he was going to change his stance. My ass. This guy knows what he's doing. He feels more control. He can read the defense. It looks very natural to him. Smooth operator kind of style. And I appreciate it. And he went off. And finally, they put JPJ in the game. Imagine that. They put the guard that's a really good guard in the game. It opens up lanes for him. Where was that the first couple games? Maybe the Bears' defense just that bad. I don't know. Because it was pretty bad. The Bears are just, listen, I got family in Chicago, and I got a lot of texts and a lot of DMs. Bears win. Woo! All right, you got me. You won. I'm not discrediting you. That was a weird, ugly game between two teams that probably won't make the playoffs. Maybe Bears, I don't know. Raiders, probably a 5, 6, 7 win team. I'm okay with that. That's fine. But I will keep reiterating the same point that I make every week from here on out. You need to draft a quarterback. I'm tired of these retreads. It's time. We need a dude. We need a dude back there, man. We need a guy that has a little bit of Gannon. I miss Jason Campbell a little bit, and not in the sense that some people say he's average days long. That's fair. I defend the kid too, because if you go back and look at Jason Campbell's career, he never really had a shot. Like, I defended him. He had 7 offensive coordinators in like his first couple of years in the league. It was bad. And he just kept fighting, and I appreciate Jason Campbell. He had a good career. It was unfortunate to see what happened to him in 2011. That season we started off really, really hot. I think we were 7-4. I think maybe 4-3 at the time. And then he got hurt, and then McFadden, and it just went shit show. I remember that year pretty well. But the Raiders need a dude. And I've been saying this for the last couple weeks, and I think it's coming to fruition. Ever since the Raiders, since we have drafted Jamarcus Russell, they have whiffed. And not whiffed in the sense like, they just don't want to take one. And I understand it. But we got to go back. We got to take that out of the memory bank here. You need to focus on the now. This team is in a division with Mahomes and Herbert. I was thinking about this at the gym tonight. Herbert, Mahomes. Herbert, Harbaugh. That ain't going nowhere. They're going to get much, much better. Okay? With Jim Harbaugh there. Chiefs and Mahomes. They ain't going away. It's not going away anytime soon. And I'm looking at Denver, which, listen, I can hate the Broncos all day long, but I got to give credit where credit's due. They're balling. That defense flying around. Surtain's the best corner. I said this Monday night. So Raiders better do something, because I like Pete Carroll. And he has won everywhere. But there's something about this Raider organization, and I'm a fan. I'm not trying to be a pom-pom waver here. But there's some stench that needs to get cleaned out. I don't know what it is, but it's bad. And listen, I give Pete Carroll... Listen, the Genty pick, like, I kind of feel like I did with Brock Bowers. Like, I hate it in the moment, and then I go back and go, no, that was a great pick. And speaking of Brock Bowers, where the hell is he? I know he's hurt, and I know he's banged up, and 70% of Bowers is better than nothing. But again, Chip Kelly, get him the fucking ball. He's the best tight end probably in the sport. I mean, arguably, he's probably top 3 right now. Young tight ends. George Kittle just praises the guy. And the other crazy thing about Brock Bowers that I love is somebody close to Kirby Smart. I think Coward had this, I think he was talking about it once. Was like, somebody really close to Kirby Smart asked about Brock Bowers. And he said this quote, he's one of the best players we've ever had at Georgia. And that's shocking. Because when I look at Georgia, that is a pipeline of NFL talent. That is stockpiled with picks. The Eagles, hell, you call them the Philadelphia Bulldogs, for crying out loud. I talked with my buddy Matt Hyman about it because he's an Eagles fan and they got all these Georgia Bulldog players. So you have him and you're not getting the ball. And Geno, I mean, don't even get me started. Listen, Geno's a nice story. And listen, we only gave a 3rd-round pick, so I'm not tripping about it. And we need a quarterback, quick fix, whatever. But it's not what I want, man. Like, this is the same shit again. It's like last year, I'm watching some games. And I said this, if you go back a year ago, we were playing the Rams and the Chiefs back-to-back weeks. One at SoFi and one at home. And I go back to this. You had those games. And your quarterback fucked up. Now, the Ram game, Gardner Minshew shit the bed. This game, Geno shit the bed because the Raiders' defense was balling all game long. Was balling. And Max Crosby is one of the best players I've ever seen. He reminds me of myself. Fiery, edgy, plays with a passion, goes 100 miles an hour, gives it his all, and yet he hasn't done anything in his career. And he's paid like, and listen, he's the best player on their team. Him and Brock Bowers probably. So, Geno sometimes, listen, he's just average. I'm starting to realize that he's got a big arm. So did Jeff George. So did Jay Cutler. It doesn't mean shit. It's nice. It's a nice compliment, but what am I getting in return? So, he looked like Stevie Wonder at a darts competition, for crying out loud. I mean, it was that bad. And he's got 7 in 4 games. Jesus, by the year's over, he could have Brett Favre's streak. 29. So, clean it up, Raiders. And I'm telling you this right now, Colton Miller being out hurts. And it is a pain. And listen, he's a solid player. Not having him for 4 weeks kills me. Because this Colts pass rush could get there. And I've seen it close. They could get there. Not as much last week, but I've seen it throughout the year. They can get heat on the quarterback. Lou Amarillo's doing a fantastic job with that defense down in Indianapolis. But this is your Sunday. Like, I don't think the Raiders are making the playoffs by any means. I've said it before. They're not. However, if you want to be a competitive football team, I got to see better than that. Now, last week was a much better improvement than 2 and 3, weeks 2 and 3, where they were outscored. Jesus. I mean, I'm not doing the math here. But it was pretty bad, right? 9 points against Chargers on Monday night, which I saw, and then 24, basically 10, because I don't count the other 14 points because it was garbage time touchdowns. So, you better get this right, Raiders, because if you win this game, and listen, I'm going to be down there, I'm going to be live, I'm going to be getting a little litty, getting a little tipsy, Raiders, chanting Raiders all day long, baby, Raider, bang, bang, I'm going to be happy as hell. Okay, I love going down Raider Colt games with my dad, we're going to have a blast, but you got to win this game, because if you win this game, you're 2 and 3, and I'm going, okay, yeah, we got something, maybe there's some momentum going. Because you got Tennessee coming up, they're struggling. I'm not looking too far ahead. I'm just pointing the facts out. So you got to win this game, Raiders. This is a must-win. If you want to salvage your season and try and get this competitive thing with Pete Carroll going, you got to do something. And I'm going to say it again. Take my man, Lenora Sellers. Take him. He is the best quarterback I've seen this year. I'm serious. I think Ty Simpson's looked really good. Sellers looked awesome. Everybody else looked like shit. Klubnik, Nussmeier I'll touch on in a minute. Not impressed. I'm looking around, and he's it. And I've read some mocks. I read it before the season. They're going to take him at 8, and they should. Because what I'm thinking is you draft him, sit him behind Geno, let him learn like a pro. Geno's been in the league a long time. And then you get this cake baked. So that was it was hard to watch because I'm a huge fan, and you guys know my passion for this. And it just kills me that we can't get out of our own way. It's not New York Jets bad. New York Jets bad, but I don't know what's going on. So, okay, so that was my reaction. Raiders got to win this week, just to recap. Got to win this week, get a dub on the road in Indy. I'll be there. But got to get some salvage, man. I want to win again, man. Jesus. Okay, So, one last thing I want to touch on was the Ole Miss LSU game, which was fantastic. That tailgating, I watch it. I didn't touch on this game because I had so many other college games I wanted to touch on. I had Oregon, Penn State. I had Georgia, Alabama, both at the same time. I had other games that day. I'm going back through my notes here. Trying to think. Yeah. I had Notre Dame, Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia, USC, Illinois, Oregon, Penn State. And I didn't touch on LSU, Ole Miss, but I will touch on that right now. So I like Brian Kelly a lot. I still think it's a weird fit down in LSU. It just is. And he promised them get him a national championship. And I don't know if that's the case because this offense sucks. I'm being complete blank honest. Because I'm watching Nussmeier. And listen, last year I said at the time I liked him. I didn't love him. Because I liked him in the sense that he's very methodical. He processes things really well. Good with his eyes. But it's just, I watch him and he leaves me scratching my head. And it went to fruition on Saturday. He threw the ball. They were right down the red zone. He throws the pick. Dude, you're a quarterback's son. You're kind of a gunslinger more than your dad. Because your dad's a coach. Your dad was a former quarterback, and he was kind of safe. Now, I like gunslingers. I've said this before. If you can cut half of those picks in half, like when Brett Favre won MVP, 32-13, I'm okay with that. That's fine. But Nussmeier, to me, does not have even Favre's talent. I'm not comparing him to Favre. But you know what I mean? The gunslinger mentality. Kind of Cam Ward has some of this. But I feel like with Nussmeier, he just leaves me wanting more. And he's not very athletic, so he's obviously got to win up here. Kind of like Joe Burrow. Kind of like Tony Romo in a sense, like, got to win up here, not the biggest arm, not all that stuff. But, man, I watch LSU. And listen, their defense is flying, man. They have got dudes everywhere on that defense. I said it a couple weeks ago. That defense is nasty. And I like this defense with LSU. I really do. But this offense better pick it up, man, because, listen, you struggle with Florida, you struggle with Ole Miss. And listen, I like Brian Kelly a lot. But this fit to me does not fit right. He fits to me more in that Northeast version. I keep saying this. Regions matter in college football. They do. Urban Meyer would work, hell, anywhere. Florida, Timbuktu, Japan, who cares? Brian Kelly fits in the Northeast. He's from there. Billy O'Brien fits in the Northeast. That's where he should be. Okay? Kalen DeBoer is winning in Alabama? Sure. But he feels like a West Coast guy, Midwest kind of guy. Brett Bielema, it feels right in Illinois. Tough, rugged, meat potatoes country, farming, Wisconsin, Illinois. You just feel it, right? Lincoln Riley does not fit in USC. I'm sorry, he doesn't. He's a Texas kid. Oklahoma, whatever. Put him there. So, that's a weird fit for me with Brian Kelly. And LSU's going to be okay, but they got to get some stuff right. And they get this offense cranked up because they got too much talent to suck right now. And maybe it's the offensive coordinator. I don't know. But I want to touch on Ole Miss. So just to recap, LSU's got some things to work on, but their defense is fantastic, and they could get to a natty. We'll see. I want to touch on Lane Kiffin because as a Raider fan, I kind of remember this maybe vividly. I don't know. Lane Kiffin's an interesting cat. He's a wild card. To me, I was thinking about this at work today. Kind of reminds me of Steve Sarkisian. Very smart, son of a coach. Now, Monty Kiffin, I don't know if Steve Sarkisian was, but I kind of see a similar vein. When I watch Lane Kiffin's offense, it is so much fun to watch. They are spreading it out. They're running RPOs. They got this Chamber Bliss kid from Ferris State who's balling. I mean, it's Lane Kiffin, and I'm talking about this tonight. The two best offenses I love to watch college football every week is Tennessee with Josh Heupel, because I got two cousins that went there, and I love watching Lane Kiffin because those two guys can draw up plays, so much creativity, so much formation, so much shifts, so much misdirection. Your eye candy. Oh my God, where is it going? Damn, up, bombs away. You never know what's hit you. And Lane Kiffin's grown up a lot. I watched about 7 minutes of that E60 he had. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched about 7 minutes of it. And it's fascinating. He has grown up a lot. And, I used to, Tosh.0 used to have a segment. It was called the KKK. And not like the bad one, but it was kind of a play on it where it was like Kiffin's Crimson Corner, and they would have to call and show like Paul Feinbaum's. And if you guys ever get a chance, go watch. It's pretty funny. And Lane kind of has that in him. And I appreciate Lane. He got uncomfortable. He stopped drinking, which he's like every human. We all got our demons. We all got our skeletons. Can we change it or can we adapt? Adapt or die, right, Moneyball? So, and listen, Ole Miss is just so much fun to watch. I think Lane is awesome. He's always been a wild card. He's always been a different kind of cat. Early on in his career, he was very cocky, very brash, like most people are, if you're that, way. And I think Lane's changed. He was a hated guy at Tennessee, which should be. Goes to the Raiders, doesn't really end up well. Al Davis, whatever, that was a mess. And, excuse me, I'm stretching here, but I will say this with LSU, with Ole Miss. I think they're elite, man. I really do. They've had signature wins. He's beaten Brian Kelly 3 years in a row. He's beat Kirby last year. Had a scare against Kentucky, but this team is legit. They got a quarterback that can run and throw. Running that offense with Lane Kiffin at a premium point. Their defense flies around. They had multiple guys go in the draft last year. Lane Kiffin just done a phenomenal job, and he's just been around football his whole life. Had to mature, had to grow up a little bit. I think he's found himself in Oxford. And that just atmosphere. I was telling my dad Saturday when I was watching that game, I said, can I go to one of these? We got to go. I got about 4 spots I got to hit. Tennessee, Ole Miss, Georgia, LSU. I got to go. But yeah, I was very impressed with Ole Miss, and I'm impressed with Lane Kiffin. He's turned the corner. He's gotten from being a hated guy in the thing to kind of a likable guy. And I've always felt that Lane was. I think he learned under Saban. He was around great coaching. And I'm just impressed with him. I think he's done a tremendous job. And, him and Saban went at each other's throats, and it didn't matter because Lane just goes, yeah, those are called ass chewings. So that's all I want to touch on tonight. I'll give you guys my picks tomorrow. Kind of a big game tomorrow night. Rams, Niners. Feels like the Rams are playing the Niners, but like with 7 medical tents, it feels like, for crying out loud. Dropping like flies. So stay tuned. I got a couple more pods before I head to Indy. Hope you guys are doing well. Adios. Godspeed.